Hey guys! So last week I gave you guys some tips for writing good fiction, and along the way I went over the formula for the standard fictional plotline. In that formula, I mentioned that the protagonist needs to hit a breaking point. And some of you were curious about this. What is a breaking point? Why does it need to happen? Can I get away without one? So I'm gonna dissect the whole character breaking point thing and let you know how to write one. The breaking point should be the lowest moment in the story for your protagonist. Something needs to happen to them that breaks their spirit. This could be the death of a close friend or family member, losing a job, a breakup, or some type of failure in school or a competition. It doesn't have to be the lowest moment in the character's life, just in whatever story you're telling about them. So why is a breaking point important? There are a bazillion different answers to this, approximately. But for starters, it'll add intensity and drama to the climax. It'll also emphasize whatever stakes are on the line for the protagonist, and it'll help the reader empathize with your protagonist. Can you get away without a breaking point? I don't know. Try it. See how it works for you. I mean, I'm sure not all fictional stories, or even all popular fictional stories, have a breaking point. But to be completely honest, I can't think of a single one off the top of my head that doesn't have one. So now that we've addressed these questions, I'm gonna go through the important elements of a breaking point. The first thing to keep in mind is that your breaking point needs to happen to the protagonist. This should go without saying. Other characters can be affected by it, sure, but this is your main character's moment. It's really common in many fictional genres to feature lots of tragedy and violence, but typically, the tragedy doesn't always directly affect the protagonist. In fact, it usually doesn't, especially early on in the story. That's sort of what separates the breaking point from other really dramatic moments. This one is deeply personal to your protagonist and affects them on a profound emotional level. The second key factor in a breaking point is that it needs to add credibility to your story. By this, I mean it needs to validate any previous statements about danger or risk or uncertainty, and if you haven't made any claims like this, get on it. There is risk associated with any type of goal, and we need to see one of these risks bite the protagonist in the ass. You might think this doesn't apply to your story, but it probably does. I mean, hell, even characters in Pixar movies hit breaking points. Validating these dangers will make any future challenge feel nerve-wracking and unpredictable to the reader. They'll always be wondering when shit's gonna hit the fan, and that'll make for a more entertaining read. The third thing to remember when writing a breaking point is that it needs to be directly related to the plot. 9 times out of 10, your plot is going to involve the pursuit of some type of goal, and your breaking point needs to show the ramifications of this pursuit. If your breaking point is not somehow tied to the overall plot line, it's gonna feel irrelevant. Not only that, but the entire purpose of a breaking point is to test the protagonist's resolve. And if the breaking point has nothing to do with the plot line, then there's no test at all. It's just an unrelated bump in the road. The breaking point is supposed to make the pursuit of their goal feel that much more daunting. And more importantly, it's supposed to make the reader question whether or not they can get the job done. No, but she was so close. The fourth element of the breaking point is the emotion. You'll notice that after most breaking points, the story gets a little bit slower, just for a moment. That's because action is no longer the focus of the story. Instead, we're seeing how the protagonist is dealing with the aftermath of their trauma. Typically, we see one of two responses to a breaking point. Either they're an emotional wreck, they're crying, they're depressed, they're numb with shock, or they experience a kind of regression. Most protagonists go through an evolution in their story, and the breaking point should knock them right back to where they were at the beginning. Now, if you do choose the latter option, this regression should only be temporary. By the time they hit the climax, they need to get over the breakdown and maybe become even stronger because of it. The last thing to consider is the timing. Breaking points usually occur about 75% of the way into the book. Timing is important because your climax is usually toward the end of the book, and your breaking point needs to happen right before it, essentially. This will make the climax much more intense. If your protagonist suffered a major loss right before the climax, the stakes are going to feel much higher. And this is a good thing. The climax is supposed to be the most thrilling and captivating moment of your novel. You want your reader to be nervous and to second guess things. If your breaking point is well timed, it'll be super fresh in the reader's mind by the time the climax hits, which will serve as a reminder that shit could potentially go very wrong at any moment. So that's all I got for you. Go out there and emotionally ruin your protagonist. It's fun, I promise. Subscribe to my channel, I post new videos on Wednesdays. And if you have any questions or if there's something you'd like me to talk about in my next video, you can leave me a comment or tweet me at Jenna Moreci. Bye!